Russians are still up in the top 5 at the moment, just ahead of Norway. Sweden sitting behind the Norwegians and will be quite comfortable where they are at the moment with Karl-Johan Bergman. But the first shoot, it certainly won't decide the race, but anyone on the penalty loop is pretty much putting themselves out of contention for a top 3. There are very few teams fast enough to recover from a situation like that. Simon Fourcade back after his compartment syndrome problems. An operation in the summer, and nice to see him back on the tracks and looking pretty mean.
He had the 11th fastest time last weekend in Oberhof, but then I think he's improving all the time, having just come back. Fourcade.
Slight advantage for those down the far end of the range, because their travel along the back of the firing point tends to be quicker when they're coming out than the top teams are when they're coming in.
That is true, but nobody shoots faster than Simon Eder, and I think, yes, he is. He's out first. Amazing. That took him about 21 seconds.
Yeah, good shooting, and he's even more impressive in the standing position, Mike. Hasn't had quite as much luck this year as he has in the past, but if he goes clear again, he might be able to just take a small group of athletes with him. Kevin Kane exiting in 16th position. Good shooting again from Kevin. Not had a bad season so far.
It's brilliant. He shot again confidently, 5 out of 5, no spare rounds, and really he came into the range slightly further than 12 seconds back, so he really has done well in the shooting range.
Simon Fourcade was the French clear, Mike. Just looking how many misses. No misses for Simon Fourcade. Obviously taking his time. Slightly surprised to see him 7-8 seconds off the pace after that first shoot. Slovakia will be disappointed, down in 18th and 1 miss. Well, nothing between the leading teams in this men's 4x7.5 relay. The big names are up there. Just looking to see if any of the top nations might have dropped away. The French have closed up that 8-second margin. Norway, Russia are up there as well. Teams you might not expect to be with the leaders. Well, Team 18, that's Latvia, who took the initiative on the first lap with Rastagujevs. He got away with that, Mike, shot clear, and he's starting to put the pressure on again.
He's just so strong. Well, remember, he came out of the range 7.4 seconds down, so he's absolutely on fire on these tracks. The fastest man at the moment, and getting rid of the pack. That's having picked up 7 seconds.
Schlesinger goes through. The Americans still up there with that leading group. The host nation a little bit... where are Germany sitting at the moment, Mike?
Well, after the shoot, they were... I make it 10 seconds behind.
Well, Germany are in there. You can see Simon Schemp, who will be handing over to Annie Birnbacher, Pfeiffer and Lesser. It is a strong team, the German team. I think really we're looking at Sochi 2014 for them to be at their prime. They still need that little bit of experience racing together before they're a really dangerous team.
I'm thinking today, traditionally, they've watched these races on these tracks since they were boys, and they know the importance of doing well in Germany, for Germany, and that always seems to lift them. Mickey Grice coming back into the team last year, they'd been a team that was off form, but it managed to bring them back to the bronze medal at the World Championships, and they'll be wanting nothing less than a podium today.
Winning time at the World Championships, 1 hour 17 and 26 seconds. That was Norway, who did also incur a penalty loop, but that just looking to see which leg it came on. It came on the first loop with Ole Einar Bjorndalen taking the first leg. He couldn't hit the standing targets.
Just the only team that's been on the penalty loop, I'll make it Romania. 1 penalty loop, so they were 1 minute 10 behind after the first shoot.
Well, how long before we see them being looped by the leaders at that sort of rate? It's a 2.5 kilometre lap and taking just under 6 minutes to complete. So we could be seeing Latvia after the end of the second leg.
Of course, Schemp is up in this lead group. He's in this pack at the front. Boy, they're flying around the tracks. I know that the organisers have put some salt on the tracks to firm it up. It's so warm and wet. Now 12 of the 26 teams shot the perfect score with no spares. Again, perfect shooting conditions. Kevin Kane skiing well and shooting well. He's only 17 seconds off the lead athlete.
He needs 5 out of 5 to keep that form going. Kane, Beyer, Leponda and Scott Dixon racing for Britain tonight. Rastiguyevs is underway. Sweden starting very fast with Carl-Johan Bergman, and he's got 3 down. The Russians get 5 out of 5. Alexei Volkov is on fire, but he's matched by Birkeland of Norway, and Slovenia also go 5 with 5. So do the Finns, who haven't put in a good relay result for many, many years. A great start from Jarkko Kauppinen, but Norway has got the lead. Russia 2.6 behind. The Russians are in, well, they're in, should have been in lane 2, but they were slightly further down after being a little slow into the range for that second shoot, but very quick shooting from Volkov, Mike.
Oh, that was rapid. He just, that's a sign of perfect form. You just hold the rifle there, squeeze the trigger, and it falls straight back onto the next target.
Well, the group of 12 teams, let's have a look and see where Birkeland's shots go. There's lots of tension in that left eye. Left, right, high, low, all over the place. But what's important is that all 5 have gone down, and the response from the crowd suggesting that Germany have shot pretty well. They've missed 1, but that went down at the first time of asking. So Germany still keep themselves only 9 seconds off the lead of Norway. Well, the leading group now, I guess you could say, all the way down to 12th, but Japan unlikely to be a threat at the end of the game. There's Annie Bernbacher, still looking very relaxed. All the teams heading for the first exchange. The 2 shoots complete on the first leg, and as you can see, it's all fairly tight. Canada, I should say, just 12.5 behind, and yeah, that's be nice to see the Canadians give the Americans a run for their money, Mike. They're not quite as strong a team, but they've relied maybe too heavily on one man over the years. Jean-Philippe Legelic.
Legelic is an outstanding talent, and he showed us that this year, didn't he? Winning the first sprint race up in Östersund. And Canada's been strong in the past, late 80s, early 90s. Some good athletes. They've always had 1 or 2.
Well, this should change the atmosphere in the stadium. Germany have finally taken the lead, and all credit to Simon Schempp. It's been a very, very good run from him. He hasn't hit all the targets, but he was very quick at reloading and working hard. He's closed 8 seconds down on the leaders on this last lap of the first leg. So Simon Schempp will lead into the stadium. Andy Bernbacher is ready to go. There he is, looking very cool and calm. Sweden have Carl-Johan Bergman chasing for the line. He'll be handing over to Bjorn Ferry. So the Swedes have put their 2 number 1s first and second, but they do have Freddie Lindstrom on the anchor leg, and Lindstrom is looking more dangerous as the season goes on. Norway, well, always a threat. Birkeland, Boe, Larby Lund, Svensson. Yes, Birkeland and Boe are new to the relay for this season, but still very, very talented.
It's a good team, and I think they're with them being so close to the front now, with Birkeland showing that he can start any time for the Norwegians. I think he's 4th position now. Great line round this corner, but risky.
Oh, Carl-Johan Bergman getting caught in the slush, and he's lost, what, 1, 2 places. He might end up losing 3 or 4. Just perhaps a lack of concentration there. We're bound to see a replay of that one, and that gives Germany another couple of seconds spare over the rest of the chasing teams. Hats off to Latvia, who are coming in second place. Andrejs Rastogoyevs has produced the leg of his life to give them a very good position. So Germany get away first, Latvia in second, Norway in third, France 4, Russia 5, Sweden eventually going from second all the way down into sixth. And right behind the Swedes, we have Finland in 7th place. So 7 seconds separating the top 7. Slovenia, USA, Austria still in this one.
18.9 seconds, 11 teams. The shooting is so good, and the skiing in a relay situation over the shortest distance in the men's race, they're able to hang on in there, bringing something else to the game to stay with the fast pace of the leaders. Austria 16.4. Japan, last week it didn't go well for Japan. They're only 31 seconds behind today. Well, I hope we see that fall again of Karl-Johan Bergman. He'll never want to see it again. I thought it was a good line, but it's quite icy right in beside the cones there, and his edges must have just slipped out. Hopefully we'll get a replay.
Yeah, it's that difficult situation. You've got a bit of slush on top of the ice, so you've got to read the course really well. And the key, as we discovered last night, is the line that you take into the corner. The safe line is the long way round on the outside. Great Britain handing over in 22nd. They're wearing bib number 21, which is their position in the rankings at the moment. That's a shame, Mike, after a really good start from Kevin Kane, right up in the top 15 after the first shoot.
Yeah, you've got to, he's had another great one. He's only used 2 spare rounds, and quite honestly, 1 minute 14 on the handover. Last week he was 1:22 in 14th position. There's Bergman going down. He just got his weight all wrong.
Well, that's where you see how soft the snow is, and very, very difficult. You just have to avoid that particular section. And when you're doing a little step turn like we saw from the Russian Volkov, it's so you just have to lift the ski a little bit higher and place it a little bit wider than you otherwise would do. You've got to allow for the ski changing direction unexpectedly.
It's absolutely pouring down now, Patrick. The rain has just come on it twice as strong, and you can see already from leg 1 this is now into their ski boots, so that every time you press your narrow ski down, it's just digging into the soft snow. It's hard work. Yep, there's Pete Beyer. We can see him just climbing up the hill. 1:14 behind us. That's a good time. And Pete had a great result in Estonia. 28th from 90 of the best biathletes in the IBU Cup. He's on form.
So away they go. The relay is all about getting 4 athletes to perform to their best on the day. Interesting email coming in from Scott and Becky Slor. I hope I've got the pronunciation of your surname right there. Just saying, what is it? How do you explain the fact that Russia tend to be the only team who have 4 people who nearly always perform well? The Norwegians tend to have 1 slip-up, which usually comes at the beginning. The Germans have a slip-up that nearly always comes on the last leg. How do you explain that?
Do you know, I've been looking at the Russian team and how strong they are. I think the Olympics next year is a huge factor. And even when you go back to the results from the IBU Cup, they're taking 1st and 2nd place often. And I think anybody in the Russian team here in the relay, they're so motivated, exceptionally motivated, in a similar way like the British athletes for the Summer Olympics in London.